the story of a Black family, a Black male, are told by others. And it can be very dangerous. And we're learning that there are definitely two life experiences, 2 points of view. Who's right? Who's wrong? The man who inspired The Blind Side, Oscar Award-winning film, Sandra Bullock played the mother. Michael Oher says he's been exploited and it's been going on for decades. Former NFL offensive lineman Michael Oher claims his life story, which was turned into the feel-good film The Blind Side, is based on a lie. More specifically, he alleges that the white couple who claimed to have adopted him instead entered him into a conservatorship for their own financial gain. That document lives today. And so let's get into what all sides are saying here. Why would it still be living today? Ex-NFL player filed a petition to terminate the custodial agreement after learning he was not a legal member of Sharon and Leigh Tuohy's family in February. The lie of Michael's adoption is one upon which co-conservators Leigh Tuohy and Sharon Tuohy have enriched themselves at the expense of their ward. The undersigned Michael Oher stated the documents that were filed in a Shelby County court in Tennessee. It's just stunning. And a black star with some of the breakouts from that document. It also states that, quote, at no point did the Tuohys inform Michael that they would have ultimate control of all his contracts. And as a result, Michael did not understand that if the conservatorship was granted, he'd be signing away his right to contract for himself. That's a basic human right. I make decisions for me. The conservatorship should have concluded when Oher turned 25, or when the contract was terminated by the court. Neither has happened. Did they forget? Because now he's 37 years old and he's asking that the legal arrangement be ended and that the couple be prohibited from using his name and likeness. Who owns you? Who owns you? When you look in the mirror, you don't even own you, is what this young man is going through. This background, the retired athlete began living with the Tuohys the summer before his senior year of high school. That was in 2004. At the time, the couple reportedly expressed their intention to adopt him, but instead they're accused of presenting him with the conservatorship papers. They allegedly explained to Oher that it was just another word used to adopt a person who is considered a legal adult by the state. Nothing to see here, they said. Oher's story of being a homeless ward of the state beginning at age 11 was first published by author Michael Lewis in 2006. 3 years later, the Tuohys inked a $225,000 deal with 20th Century Fox to adapt the football player's life into the highly successful film The Blind Side. They are also alleged to have earned 2.5% of the movie's profits. That's almost never done, folks. Big stars get that, only when they have max leverage. It's almost never done. The studios fight to hold on to the back end. The movie was distributed by Warner Brothers, reported 29 million budget. That's the budget. Made more than 300 million at the box office. Good investment for Warner. But Oher never saw a dime from its success. He alleges that the deal worked out by the Tuohys cut him out of the profits made from the rights to his name and likeness. Unbelievable, but that is what he swears under oath in the document. Sandra Bullock, who played Leigh, won Best Actress for her portrayal and the film for Best Picture at the 2010 Academy Awards. The actress also scored wins at the Critics' Choice Awards, the Golden Globes. Critics of the film have long lamented it was a flawed story anchored by a good old white savior, because that's what Hollywood does. It's not a story until a white person saves a person of color. Leigh is allegedly the same woman who, according to users online, admitted to profiling Black teens in an old Facebook post. So let's take a look at that, shall we? We see what we want. It's the gospel truth. These two were literally huddled over in a corner table, nose to nose. That person with me said, I bet they are up to no good. Well, you know me, I walked over there and told them to scoot over. 10 seconds of dead silence. I said, so what's happening at this table? I get nothing. I then explained it was my store and they should spill it. Showed me their phones. They were texting friends trying to scrape up $3 each for the high school basketball game. Well, here comes the savior part. They left with smiles and money for popcorn and bus fare. We have to stop judging people and assuming and pigeonholing people. Don't judge a book by its cover or the rights to its movie, apparently. There's more. Okay. You see this when asked about the photo. People don't really know what happened because I actually had money. I have a job and have had one for over a year. I was gonna pay for my brother, the other guy in the picture, but he was insisting on waiting on his uncle, but his phone was dying. So we were charging it, which is the reason we were in KFC in the first place. I mean, you see it for yourself here, okay? That's when he said she came over to us. Never mentioned her initial reason was because of her friend's comment, just now finding that out. She never actually asked for it as she was handing us the money. This is what was said about this photo. She was like, hey, you know what? I think this would be a great picture. And everyone with her was totally, yeah. It kind of just went along with the situation like, sure, why not? You're Michael Oher's mom. The whole time I was thinking, you know why she'd come up to us in the first place? I was still clueless up until she posted the picture on social media, stated the person with me said, I bet they're up to no good. Now Sean Tuohy told the Daily Memphian that the claims have devastated the family, the claims by Michael Oher. Tuohy said the conservatorship was drawn up to ensure that Oher was eligible to play football at the University of Mississippi. Tuohy is a booster at that school, and if Oher was not part of the family, there could have been potential NCAA issues sending him there. Tuohy suggested a simple transaction to keep Michael safe. Another way of putting it. I sat Michael down and told him, if you're going to play for Ole Miss or even considering Ole Miss, we think you have to be part of the family. This would do that legally, Tuohy said. We contacted lawyers who had told us that we couldn't adopt over the age 18. The only thing we could do was to have a conservatorship. We were so concerned it was on the up and up that we made sure the biological mother came to court. Tuohy also dismissed the idea that the family profited handsomely from the movie and stopped calling her the biological mother. She's his mother. New York Post with the details there, quoting Mr. Tuohy. There's so much here, Mayor, to unpack. There's just so much. This young man says he was portrayed as stupid, didn't own the rights to his own story, and didn't get any money, and he was lied to. And at age 37, after coming in contact and living with the Tuohys before his senior year, he's now 37 and he's finally saying enough.
Yeah, I mean, more than enough. This is a person who found out this year in February that he wasn't a part of the family that he thought it was a part of. He found out it was a conservatorship, a document that said we own you basically, or at least we own your rights. This sounds so much like slavery. Also, what's also on trial in here that's not on trial, the unsaid, is the fact that the idea that the Supreme Court just done away with affirmative action. But we see how rich white people can make way for anybody to go to a school. How about he can go to Ole Miss because he's an athlete, not because of you? The idea that affirmative action is going away is a lie. We see that story playing out right here when they say we could just write a piece of paper and make it so you're eligible to go because we give so much money. That story is in that story that we're not even talking about. Beyond that, the fact that we're talking about Alabama owning a black person right by these white people does not sit well with my soul. We are watching white people steal the bodies, the abilities of a black man at the age of 18 and own him for his entire adult life. And we can't pretend that there's no causation in what's happening and what they owe. $6 million is what they made off that movie.
They're saying they made none. They're saying, no, the family just got, and there's the accusation from Michael Oher that their biological children, the Tuohys, also were cut into the deal. The Tuohys claim, no, everybody just got like $14,000. Michael got some too. I mean, you're talking about a father who, according to reporting, sold his company for $200 million. How much is enough?
Yeah.
And if you're posting Facebook posts, Mayor, about all of your good deeds, are they really coming from the heart or are they coming from image? And was there really a friend who whispered that? Or was it you, Leanne?
And I mean, even if it is a friend, the fact that you don't even know that this is the idea, like you're racist and don't even see it. And if you read the book Anti-Racist, you know, racism is not just for those who commit the acts. And race is not a permanent thing, right? The idea of racism is in every action where you have a chance to stop it or do something against it. When your friend said that, the correct response is not to go over there and harass these two young men. The correct response is to say, if those were two white boys, would you say that? If those were two white girls, would you say that? Why didn't you check your friend? You walking over there asking them to scoot over and do something is not only harassing them, but it's also being racist. So your actions explain exactly what Michael is telling the world now at 37, you did to another young black man 20 some years ago, so almost 30 years ago. We see this repeating itself in your actions. In your actions. And the kid has, I mean, if you look at the video, it backs up what he said. His cell phone charger is in his hand in the picture. So the idea that you stop them from charging their phone so that they can ensure they had what they need to get where they were going, you injected your whiteness and said, come, let me be your savior in this picture for all of the world to see. I'm disgusted.
I'm disgusted too, Mayor, but it's not unlike what all of us have faced, not at this public level perhaps, but sometimes. I can remember in the workforce having both a general manager and a news director. One thought he was hip and with it, woke. And one day he said to me, I wanted this young lady promoted because she earned it. Person of color, smartest intern. I was blown away. She started writing things, took initiative, and it was good. I didn't have to even correct it. I said, hey, we got this entry level position. Let's give it to her. By the way, she's an anchor today. Okay, I think I could see a little something here. And he says to me, as we had a staff and managers, mostly white, who he would constantly complain about, he said, well, I'd like to hire more black people, but I can't find any qualified. I couldn't let it go, Mayor. I closed the glass door to his office and I told him, you have offended me greatly. He got red and he said, what? And I told him, how dare you? How dare you? Every day I come into this office, every day, and you point through the glass door and you talk about this one and that one, and they all look like you, not me, since you want to make it an issue. How dare you hold my people to this kind of standard and pretend that we're not great, okay? It was that offensive. And so I think you're right. When Leanne Tuohy posts this, she's so clueless because that's what America allows her to be. She actually thinks she's woke and a freedom fighter. What say you?
Yeah, I think you're spot on, and it's so much. This is why I tell people all the time, so many people that so-called allied themselves with the struggles of black folk, that you're stepping on your own foot and getting in your own way when you come in here with this savior complex, talking about what your community needs to do, as if we don't have answers. The problem is you're not listening, and when we're screaming at the top of our lungs that Black Lives Matter, you guys are so worried about white fragility that you can't hear us. But when a white person says, hey, don't judge black kids, even though I just did and went over there and profiled them, it sounds like a hero complex. I bet you that's one of her most liked posts out of all her social media posts by all white people. Black people feel cringy when we see this because we know what it is. For years and years, we've been saying everything that Tim Wise says. Tim Wise makes millions of dollars off of saying the same thing that black people say about black people. And he's not done anything, not donated or not fixed any of his racist cousins.
Wow. I tell you what, I know people didn't like how Will Smith acted in the slap, and we've dissected it. But remember what he won the Oscar for and whose story that was? I pray that we're going to get Hollywood to understand. Their formula is a lie, by the way. We've proven that we show up at the box office and we like our stories, and guess who else is there in the movie theater with us, okay? So when he stars in a film about Richard Williams, Serena and Venus's father. I don't recall a white hero. I recall him checking a lot of people in the film. I want Hollywood and I want everybody connected to the blind side. I want to hear from everybody connected. I don't know why, Mayor, and maybe you should check me. Maybe I'm wrong. I want to hear from Sandra Bullock. Because if that were me, I don't want to profit off of this. I had no idea. Or did she? I don't know. But I want to hear from everybody.
Or at least let's she needs to definitely say something and say, hey, there needs to be an asterisk beside this Oscar that says this is not a biopic. This is actually fiction. I won an Oscar for playing a racist white woman.
Yeah. And this is a woman. Yeah, yes. This is an Oscar award-winning actress. If you know anything about the makeup of her family, okay? I need to hear from you. Sandy, I need to hear from you, okay? And I need there to perhaps be a sequel. And we'll let Will Packer produce it this time, okay? Will Packer can produce it because then we can trust that he understands that there's many layers to Black stories. And you don't have to make this talented, sensitive young man sound stupid and only be where he is today because of white saviors.